welcome to another live episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, WIZE. I have a very special guest. She's a spiritual guide, a mentor, a teacher, a fellow podcast host. She is the host of Master of Your Crafts. Welcome to the show, Naranjan Nota. What's going on?
How are you, Wise? Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
the pleasure's all mine. When I saw your profile on Podmatch, I was like, I got to get her on my show. She seems like someone I would definitely have a great conversation with. So, all right, let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
What led you into being a spiritual guide?
I'm a firm believer that sometimes we walk through life and we enter different roles, relationship positions in different parts of life. And we get to a like, this is what I'm meant to do. There's an ease, there's a grace, there's a settling, there's a different type of contentment that happens when you truly align with something that speaks to your soul on such a deep level. And that's what led me here. But it wasn't an easy task. It wasn't an easy road, let's put it that way.
Oh no, it never is. It's similar to me. I didn't know my purpose until I started podcasting and I started creating content like this where I get to speak to people and have them share their stories and share my story as well as along the way. And for me, it was I'm in my 40s and I didn't know my purpose. I didn't know what I was meant to do, what was my path. And like you said, it wasn't easy. I had to go through some hardships in my life. I had to experience some tragedies and all that to finally get to this path, to get to help lead me down this path and to what I was doing. And when I started my podcast, because I wasn't in the media realm, I didn't have any, it was no prior media experience or anything like that. I just felt I needed to do my podcast. And originally it was going to be a sports podcast with a friend of mine, and it just didn't work out. And I just started recording. And the first episodes was me talking about what was going on in the world. With it was the beginning of the pandemic. Over here was the whole Floyd thing and everything, elections and everything that was going on. And I found myself not enjoying that content. And so when I started switching it more to a conversation piece, sitting down with entrepreneurs, coaches, friends of mine, I found that's where I needed to, that was my lane. That was where I needed to be, is to produce positive content to show people like, hey, there's people out here doing some amazing things. And they're regular people like you and me.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And it's been great. I've recorded I started strictly audio and then I transitioned to pre-recorded video. And then this year I decided to just go live because it was so much more fun when I was doing the live because you would get people interacting in the chats.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what was great because now they became a part of the show.
Right.
Whereas far when it was just pre-recorded, it was just me and the guest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to learn from you as you've transitioned the face of the podcast, the content, the interviews, and the content. How have you seen the shift in you?
Uh,
More contentment, more fulfillment.
oh, so much more happier
Mm-hmm.
to be able to help people and reach people at a point where when I first started, I didn't expect anything. I just went in here because I wanted to start a podcast, and then I found that I had a voice, and then I discovered that that voice was giving me a purpose. It was showing me, hey, this is the lane you're supposed to be in. And when I started doing the shows, and people started actually reaching out and letting me know that the content I was producing was something that people needed to hear. And I had friends who saw episodes of me and another friend, and they were like, yo, you watching this episode inspired me to do this, such and such and such. And that to me was like, okay, so I have something here. I have something that people want to listen to because if I'm impacting one person's life, I am doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right. Right. And that's the underlying joy, I
Mhm.
guess, and satisfaction that we have of growing along the way, because perhaps we don't realize how much we grow from particular conversations even when we're in it. And then that aha, click, ping moment that happens in that instant is rippled then out to other listeners. So it's beautiful. Thank you, Wise, for sharing that.
So for you, you have a podcast. Tell us a little
Mhm.
something about your podcast.
So my podcast is Master of Your Crafts. And I specifically got that name. I was lucky enough to receive it from my higher self, and it just pinged straight into my mind. And it's a podcast where I interview individuals who have really mastered and harnessed a skill that brings healing, or an opportunity to bring healing to others in the world from a variety of sources, be it from a business angle, an artistry, a reader, a book writer, um, to even scholars, doctors, and physicians, and a huge variety of contrast of individuals. But ultimately, their skill and their mastery is something that they've invested in that really speaks to their soul. And that, I feel, is a unique part of my podcast. And I get to have these delicious, deep, and exciting conversations with these people that I would never have otherwise had the opportunity to meet. So I'm very honored and blessed to do that.
I know the feeling. I've had some amazing guests on my show. I've been able to learn so much. At one point, I felt kind of bad because I felt that it was selfish of me because I was enjoying these conversations so much and I was learning so much from these conversations. But a guest pointed out to me that no, that there's nothing selfish about what I was doing. That was just me showing self love to myself, especially since I was enjoying the conversations and I was learning from them. But the fact that I was sharing it with my audience showed me that that told them that, hey, you also want other people to learn and grow from these
Absolutely.
episodes and grow from these guests. And so I started looking at it completely different. And that was one of those aha moments for me, was like, okay, so this isn't a bad feeling from that. I'm really enjoying these conversations, that I'm really learning from these people, and being able to, like you said, connect with people that you probably wouldn't have connected with before, prior to your podcast. To me, I feel the same way. I've
Mm.
built so many relationships, I've networked with so many amazing people because of the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's also, I'm very high on energy, and whatever energy you put out, I really feel that's the energy you will receive back. So I've been blessed to network with some amazing people. I've I've been blessed with I've this year was my first year to Podfest. And being an independent podcaster, you really don't make much money. But I invested in myself. I purchased tickets. I went, me and my nephew went.
Mm.
We flew down, we had a great time. It was a great experience. There we networked with a bunch of people. I use Podmatch to book my guests, and I'm a big supporter of Podmatch because it's helped independent podcasters in a way where they're able to monetize their podcast without getting sponsors and all that. So
Mhm.
they're willing to share a piece of their pie of the guests that are signing up for Podmatch, and they're sharing that with the content creators.
Mhm.
So to me, that was a great thing, and I built a relationship with Alex Sanfilippo, who is
Mhm.
the creator of Podmatch, and he's blessed me with 2 tickets to Podfest for this coming January.
Very nice.
And that to me was an amazing feeling, that someone was willing to. They saw that the work that I
Mm.
was doing and everything, and they're like, "Hey, dude, you're supporting Podmatch. You're doing some great things. Let me gift you these 2 tickets." And that was like, that blew my mind.
Mhm.
And that just showed me that, hey, I'm doing some good stuff. I'm creating some great content. I'm building the relationships that I need to build. And it's all because of doing my podcast, switching it to the conversation to the format that I wanted it to be, which was focusing more on creating positive content.
Mhm. Mhm. And that's the gift. That's the gift that not only you get to go on, but also allow others to witness that as you do these sessions and as you do these interviews. So the spectator who's or your followers get to witness your growth. Because we all love a great story. Everybody loves characters and a story and something to follow and watch and see how that evolves and grows. So you are ultimately part of that storyline.
Yeah. I've invested in myself a lot as far as just learning and wanting to improve on what
Mhm.
I do on mastering how to podcast and learning all the little nuances, how to do video, how to do all these are all things I had no experience in.
Yeah.
And I went and I took some courses, I YouTubed a lot of stuff, and I spent a lot of time just developing and growing.
Right.
And you can tell in how from my first podcast to now, you can see the growth. You can see like, hey, this guy started with I started with a simple Behringer studio that cost me like $160 on Amazon.
Mm.
But when I started really getting into podcasting and really seeing that this wasn't just a hobby for me,
Mm.
I really started investing in myself. I got me the Rodecaster Pro. I got me
Yeah.
a better quality camera. Invested in a ATM Mini Pro. All these different things to help improve my content because I felt that people were giving me something very precious, which is their time.
Yes.
And by listening and watching my program, I just wanted to give them the best quality of myself and of the show. And so I invested in myself because they deserve that much. Because
Mhm.
like I said, they're giving me something very precious.
Absolutely. And perhaps more importantly, you deserve it.
Yes, I do.
You deserve the investment in yourself to be able to deliver what the best of you to others. So it's a twofold. It's a twofold given nice episode, nice perspective of change and
So
energy.
how has what you're doing changed you?
I get to learn, I get to witness, I get to sit in a place of humility of how people are choosing to live their life and how people are choosing to dedicate, for many, their lifetime in mastering a craft that they then expand out to others, be it through schooling or just be it through education. They have sunk their time and energy in that subject area matter. And because the driver of it is so strong, I am blessed to witness and capture that in a 30, 40-minute segment, which is just a tip of the iceberg for many of the conversations that I've had. So for me, it's been honored to witness that very vulnerable place that individuals share with me in that very short period of time. I get to witness it, and I think that is such a treasure.
So does that impact you in a way that it makes you want to be more like that?
It makes me more humble that people are open to doing that, and that I know that I can create a space, a container that will allow individuals to be so vulnerable so quickly. It's a safe container that I know I harness and that I bring to the table when I have these conversations. So for me, it's highlighting more of who I truly am and learning to expand that for the greater good of all.
And that's the one thing a lot of people don't really get to experience is being their true authentic selves, being able to be themselves. And that's why I feel my podcast is doing well, is because I allow myself to be myself. I don't try to be someone that I'm not. I don't try to portray myself as something that I'm not. I just
Mhm.
come on here, have great conversations, and honestly enjoy every moment of it.
Mhm.
And people will see that and they realize that, hey, this is, he's serious about this. He really does enjoy these conversations. These are things that they matter to me. And so for me, it's being able to just really be myself, really be able to show that vulnerable side, as well as the things that I've learned along the way.
Mhm.
And so it's been a blessing. It's been humbling. It's been just been an amazing journey. I've this past year alone, the relationships I've built and forged because of doing my podcast and because of what I'm doing, it, it's it's just been like this amazing this amazing light just brightening up, and just like I said, just being able to build these relationships and speak to these people and make the friendships that I've made through podcasting, the mentors I've met that have offered to help me along this way because they see something in me,
Mhm.
or anyone willing to work with me because they see something in me.
Mhm.
That to me is, it's something, it's an amazing feeling because it just shows you that people appreciate what you do. People see that you're doing something positive. They see that you're creating something that's impacting other people's lives. And so I don't take these relationships for granted. I try to support everyone that supports me, even people that don't. I just try to support as many people as possible because I want to see them honestly succeed. People are like, oh, well, how can you and all these podcasters be friends? Because none of us are competing with each other. Because all of us are trying to help each other out. We're all trying, like the network of podcasters that I'm associated with. We all try to support each other. We all check out each other's shows. We'll pop up on there, leave comments, share the show with other people, and it's there's no ego involved.
Mhm.
Everyone is honestly, truly trying. I've been blessed that the podcasters that I work with, the people that I've met, they truly want to help you. They truly want you to succeed, and that's the kind of community you want to be a part of.
And that's the blessing right there, is to find a community that where you all speak the same language, and
Mhm.
you're each other's cheerleaders and champions for what is it that makes you unique to everybody else unique. And having that underruling, undeniable support is, it's really difficult to explain because I've witnessed the same.
Oh, I know. That's it's sometimes it is difficult to find the words to explain
Yeah,
this feeling because you want everyone. You wish everyone could feel it.
yeah.
You wish everyone could find what they're truly passionate about, what their purpose is.
Mhm.
If people truly found their purpose and knew what they really were meant to do in this world, this would be a completely different place.
Right.
And so being able to find this and being able to realize that this is what I'm supposed to do. This is this is the path that I'm supposed to head down because it's opened up so many different opportunities. It's led me to wanting to get into coaching, wanting to get into to other paths and being able to start, like before I probably would have thought I couldn't do public speaking.
Mm.
And then I'm realizing I'm speaking to a lot of people doing my podcast. They might not be in the room with me at that moment,
Mhm.
but it's a pretty big audience
That's right.
out there listening to me. So maybe I can do to public speaking.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how we take courageous steps in you moving forward and going, actually, I really want to do podcasting. And you've evolved that further. And with every iteration of it, you get more braver in stepping into you and letting go of all the other components of that you thought should be you. Those layers and perspectives, opinions, and judgments that other people have projected on us, either people that love us and want the best for us, and or society around us has put us in a place of you fit in, you got to fit in this label, you got to fit in this category, you got to fit in this box, and with that comes a definition, their definition.
Yeah.
So, as we drop those definitions and truly operate from that really vulnerable, heart centered space that you're talking about, it leans into the uniqueness of who you are and who all your other fellow podcasters are, or your other elements of your community are, because you get to witness and speak to them on a level beyond the mind. So now we're
Mhm.
having a whole different conversation by speaking to the heart. And
Yeah,
that in itself, it's a different way of being.
it is. And again, see, one of the reason I decided to go live was because of interaction. People coming through, sharing their comments, leaving their messages. Good afternoon to BS3. We're also live on their network.
Mm,
They're on Roku. So if you have a Roku channel, download the BS3 network. You catch us there live Monday,
nice.
Tuesday, Wednesdays. Um, well, shout out to Latina. She's always coming through, and so Latina, I met her through. I do a sports radio show Thursdays and Fridays. I'm the guest co-host Thursdays and Fridays, and she's a listener on that show. So when I started going live on my show, she came started supporting me here, and
Beautiful.
and there's a bunch of them that come through and show me love, and it's all because I was on the other show, and they're
Mm.
like, "Hey, let's go. This guy's cool. Let's go check him out." And so that to me is I love that fact because then that just showing me that hey, these people actually enjoy the content I'm creating. They actually come and support in my show. I love it. Let's give them some shine. Let people know who they are. And a lot of them are podcasters. A lot of them come through their fellow podcasters, and I tell them, hey, share your shows in the chat.
And that's the best part is having that underlying community who can see beyond all that facade mirror and all those layers of expectations that we are taught to have, and seeing that pure intention that you have behind who you are and your intentions of what you're giving to your listeners and sharing vulnerability. I think people see it. If they might not be able to see it, they'll definitely be able to feel it 100%.
Definitely.
Mhm.
What what are what are thing what are some things you do to help your clients try to get to this level to find what they're passionate or find what their purpose is?
What do I do to help them? I create a space of safety, of confidence, and a place of peace where when I am in dialogue and in conversation with them, they can just be them. They can drop all the other pieces of I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a sister, and all those other labels and elements of overwhelm that often occurs while we take on these labels. So when they come to me, I see them as a pure essence of a soul. And when I see that, I hold them in a space of unconditional love, energetically, and in a space when we're online on Zoom. And that allows them to crack open and let go of some of the other baggage and pain and trauma that they have not only gained from this lifetime, but other lifetimes too. To look at that pure essence of what is it their soul is here to really do.
Yeah, that's definitely something. Like I said, for me, it was not knowing what my purpose was. Not know, like I had been going through jobs and doing all this, and you truly don't know what your purpose is. And then when I found it and started living it and doing what I wanted to do, what I was happy, like you said, found my my happy place, my zone where I can truly just be me, where I can truly just come on and express myself and able to show that vulnerability and show people that, hey, it's especially for men. For us, it's been a path where at one point it was a bad thing for you to show vulnerability, to show that you had feelings. You had to be the big, strong man. You couldn't cry. You couldn't show emotions. You couldn't share any of the burdens you had on your life with anyone else. You have to absorb that all yourself. And me being able to do this and show that other side of me, show that side that, hey, it's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you to let people know, hey, I need some help. Let me help me somehow, or just being able to come on here and express if I have something going on, and it's relieving. It's for me, it's being able to, it's therapeutic for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Therapeutic, cathartic, talking it out loud, and being in a place knowing there's not going to be any judgment. And dare I even say, if there is an element of judgment, how much do you care? Like this much, maybe. Um,
I usually I'm gonna be respectful, but no, I don't really care much. I'm, not- I'm gonna be nice. I would have said it a different way if it was a different guest, but yeah, no, I could care less. But anyone,
and that's the magic, right?
and it was funny because yesterday I did a holiday special because my guest came down sick, so I just did a holiday special and invited a bunch of fellow podcasters to come on, and one of them came on, and he's um he's here in the United States, and his wife and his fiance is in I think she's in the Philippines, and so he gets a lot of questions and stupid stuff. He is like, oh, you're gonna be a 90-day fiance and all this stuff, and then he starts thinking about what people would think about him. I said, you know what, f them. It doesn't matter what they think. The only thing that matters is what you think. It shouldn't matter what anyone else thinks about what your relationship is, or if you're happy, is she happy? Then yeah, if that answer is yes, then F them. They can go my kick rocks for all I care.
You're the only one that's going to be walking in your shoes, so go at it.
Yeah, they don't nobody got to work. Yeah, you walk in your shoes, I walk in.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's something I've realized within myself, that there was a situation at work where I was having issues with somebody at work, and I decided to look at it from a different perspective. I decided that, hey, maybe it wasn't that person and it was me. And so when I did that, the relationship changed. We're not friends or anything, but we're no longer we're no longer combative. We're now able to coexist in the same space. And because I looked at it as a different way, I looked at it, hey, he's not really that such a bad person. Maybe I'm just making it a little bit more of it than what it's supposed to be. Maybe the change needs to come from me. So once I started doing that, things changed.
Beautiful. And that's the magic of the ripple effect of the energy that we put out is what you get back.
Yeah, it is. It honestly is. And that's why I feel like all the blessings that are coming to me is all the energy that I'm putting out. It's the way that I'm treating people. It's the way that if someone needs me and hey, wise, can you help me with this or can you do this for me? And if I can do it, I'm more than willing. Heck yeah, like yeah, let's do this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so what happens is that comes back to you. That energy comes back. People always want to focus on, or what am I getting out of this? You should just do it. Like there should be like if you're gonna do something, do it from from within. Do it because you want to do it for someone, not for you to throw it in their face or be on Instagram and be like, hey, it's like a meme I saw where this person was giving money to a homeless person, but they were showing it on social media, like, hey, look what I'm doing. Whereas I would have just gave them the money and not
Be
posted
done.
it or not shared it with anyone because I'm not doing it for the clout. I'm not doing it for people to be like, oh, he's doing charity. No, I could care who sees what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I know what I'm doing is right. As long as
Right.
I see what I'm doing and my actions,
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
else falls into place.
And that's half the battle, right? Is we've been conditioned in a society to do things with an expectation based on what others are doing or what we should do based on what society expects us to do, because somehow there's this facade or structure in place of we should be doing X, Y, and Z. But yet, when we give to others without an expectation, then we know it's coming from a place of the heart. When we do it from a place of expectation, we know it's coming from the mind, which is ultimately operated most likely from the ego,
Yeah, from prior programming. Yeah.
which is prior programming, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. So coming from the heart space with zero expectation, you know that authenticity of what you're delivering and what you're
Hmm.
giving is coming from a pure place. So I think that is a condition that a lot of people, it takes time to get over. It takes time to realize that of me giving just for the sake of giving is the gift.
Yeah. It, it's 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 really when you figure out that my purpose is to help serve others, and then I get the enjoyment and the fulfillment of being able to serve them and help them, that I do reap the rewards from it. There are opportunities that open up from it. There are people who do things for you because they see what you're doing. And so for me, it's to me it's a no brainer how to be able to help anyone, to want to help anyone, and not really want anything in return. It's like we want this instant gratification, but I'm not built like that. That's not what I'm built for.
But it takes time. It takes
Yeah.
time to get into that
Oh no,
space.
listen, it took me 40 something years to get here.
It takes time because we're so conditioned, as you said, to be able to do that. But I also have witnessed and recognized that sometimes when we do things, we don't recognize we're looking for an acknowledgement, an expectation, a pat on the back, or some sort of accolade. That driver of the action is actually coming from some other place. And that other place being another part of your soul from another lifetime, is causing you and pushing you to take a very specific action. And that driver, that passion, that charge behind the emotion is often looking for that acknowledgement and looking for that acceptance, or to be really in your face about that topic or situation, because the driver of it's coming from a past self, which is a collision to a certain degree between operating between the mind and the ego and operating from the heart. That's where things can get really tricky, because we can go and donate or give to others in need from a place of where we don't, what we have more abundance of. That can ultimately come off on a place of sympathy for the other person. And when it comes from a place of sympathy, you know you're operating from a place of the ego.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Man, this has been great. I love this conversation. This is why I do it. This is why, to be able to have these conversations, to be able to speak to people like yourself that have so much to share, that are out here trying to help people, trying to help them live their better lives. Because that nonsense that we have to work 30, 40 years for a corporation and retire and then be retire and enjoy the rest. No, we need to start learning how to enjoy the moment, how to enjoy life now, how to find your purpose, how to be able to do what you love and still not jeopardize your integrity, jeopardize your humility, not jeopardize who you truly are, just to fit a label that someone has put on you.
Absolutely. It takes time, but it takes a lot of courage to go to that space.
Because a lot of us are complacent. A lot of us are stuck in, and that's why I named my podcast "Stuck in My Mind,"
Mm,
because a lot of us are stuck there. A lot of
yeah.
us are stuck with the programming that they have in us, that, oh, go to school, do this, do that, and but they're not showing you what your purpose. They're not trying to help you find your purpose. They're not trying to show you that, hey, there's more to life that you need to discover for yourself,
Mhm.
that you need to find within yourself.
Right. Right. And I'm a believer that we all have very many different purposes.
Mhm.
So it could be starting out, for instance, with you or even myself, in stepping into doing something you love and have that evolve and just watch how it changes and how it grows. To being in a place of, okay, now that feels comfortable. What else can I do to expand that and feel more uncomfortable? So the purpose at the beginning was to step into your power, using your voice, fitting into who you truly are and what feels good for you. And that then evolving into, how can I help other people? And that will evolve even further and further and further. So it's the classic example of almost like you're driving in the fog. So you're driving and you see a goalpost and you see a sign 5 feet ahead, and you get to that point and you see another sign, and you get to that point and you see another sign. This is what life is. And this is, from my perspective, another version of stepping into your purpose, because your purpose will evolve as you evolve.
Mhm.
When we know better, we do better. Classic quote from Maya Angelou.
Yeah,
And when we have more information, we're more empowered to do more things. Our horizons open. We get exposed to different people, as you have shared so candidly today, even. We're in a position to change.
yeah,
And that's part of the whole situation of why we're here, to grow and change.
absolutely, yeah, and it's true. It's. I know I continue to learn every day. I continue to try and improve on myself every day. Um, be it with if I read an article or if I learn something new or whatever it is, I just try to improve myself in some way or another. Or find if there's something I need that I need to work on, I work on that. Or it's just a daily just daily growth, just me wanting to be better than I was the day before.
Hmm. Hmm. So it becomes a habit, essentially.
Basically, it
It
does.
can become a habit of, okay, what else am I missing? What else can I change? How can I feeling uncomfortable? How can I get uncomfortable again? What's going on? And really analyzing. There's a little acronym that I came across that I want to share with your audience that might seed something for them.
Okay.
And the acronym is WATCH. WATCH. So the double, and if you can be mindful of all of these, emphasize emphasizing the analogy, the word watch, your words, what are the words that you're speaking out loud and even to yourself, because they have an active energy connected to them as well. The actions that you choose to take, be it default consciously or subconsciously, the thoughts that you have. So the thoughts, even before they actually leave your lips of saying them out loud, they have an energy behind them. The character that it builds within who you are by using the first three letters ultimately builds the habits of who you are. So your words, your actions, your thoughts build your character, which ultimately build the habits that make you you.
I'm stealing that.
It's a good one.
Yes, it is. It is. I really do. That's a really good one. I mean, that's gonna be part of the clip I'm gonna use.
Okay, good.
That's gonna be part of the clip I use because that's a gem right there. That's a nugget right there.
Yeah.
And those are the ones I enjoy it. I enjoy sharing those with the world. Like when I do a clip, something when I'll go back and I'll listen to an episode and
Uh-huh.
or watch an episode and when my guest says something that's like, okay, that's a clip right there. That's something I'm gonna clip right there and put out there and share it because someone never knows. Someone might need to hear that.
Absolutely.
But
So, can I add an extra layer onto that for
go
those
ahead.
who may
That's
have
what you're here
already
for.
heard it? Thank you. So, the extra layer is that WATCH acronym, depending on how it's influencing your body. So, how much of a charge there is, how much you get angry or invigorated by an emotion of whatever it is you're engaging with, that 9 times out of 10 comes from another lifetime. Because I deal with karma, I deal with the whole, we've not been here once, we've been here a couple hundred times on this planet in human form. That is where the healing opportunity becomes for you to let go of all of those labels and all of that clutter. When we can recognize what is the emotion that is showing up, connected to that WATCH acronym, the habit, the behavior, is connected to a lifetime that is begging for your attention.
One of the key things you brought up in the watch acronym is words.
Mhm,
And some of the words that you say to yourself are
mhm.
very important. And I highly believe that you really need to speak nice to yourself. You really have to say some very nice things to yourself.
Yeah,
It's amazing how people talk down or talk bad about themselves
yeah.
and it affects them and they don't realize how much it affects them.
They may not see the influence of the words at that given moment. Or they may feel low, they may feel down, and they'll get over it. Have another conversation with somebody, they'll call the one of their cheerleader and get championed up, and it's all okay. But those words still sit in this physical body. They sit there and they hide there for years and even decades. Because what I've witnessed with my clientele, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, after that negative self-talk has influenced the physical body through disease, through ailments, and you just watch the body deteriorate later on years of life. So it might be all good now that you do a little negative talk once in a while in your youth, so to speak. But you fast forward that 20, 30, 40 years down the road, that will physically show you the debilitation of your physical body.
Wow, that's
That's
some really
hard.
heavy stuff. Yeah, that's some really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, but this has been great. I love this. But now it's the part of the show where you get to plug away, let everybody know where they can find you, what website, everything. And here you
Beautiful.
go.
Thank you, Wise. People who might be interested in learning more about what I have to offer and what I have to share there, I invite you to go to brightshininglight.com, where you can book a free consult and we can have a conversation to ensure you're the right fit to be able to work and unravel some of these heavy parts of life. I'd also encourage you to listen to Master of Your Craft, the podcast that I have, and love your feedback of anything that you would like to share and what you would like to listen to. I'm available on Instagram at Naranjan Nota, also on LinkedIn at Naranjan Nota as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. But don't leave just yet. I'm
Okay.
going to chat a little bit off the air. But it's been a pleasure having you on the show. This has been amazing. Like I said, I enjoy having these conversations. I enjoy having people like yourself on that have so much to share with the people. And that's what all I'm about is providing content that can help enlighten people, that can help people along their journey as well. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Wise. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, so now it is time for shout outs. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Big shout out to Ben from the BS3 network for coming through. I don't know who Facebook user is, but thank you for coming through. Shout out again to Latina. Thank you for coming by and showing some love. A Journey for Passion. What's going on, brother? I appreciate you coming on and leaving some leaving some messages in the chat, man. I greatly appreciate it. It's always a pleasure having you on and coming by and sharing some love. Big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady, Fina. Love you and appreciate you. Big shout out to my guest, Naranjan Nota, for coming through and dropping that gem, because Watch was a gem. So people check out for that little clip so y'all can copy it down, follow it, whatever, but definitely need to do something with it. That was a great acronym. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know your boy Wise does it. Peace out.